Awesome. Hi, everybody. All right, hold on. Let me get my presentation up. How are you guys doing? Hello, everyone. Again, you can go to chat. You do not need to be on video. You're welcome to be. I love seeing you, but you do not need to be on video. So, Andy, Kim, if that scares you, please feel free to, you are welcome to turn it off. You guys are all muted because we have almost 100 people signed up for tonight's webinar, and it would be really noisy. So we love seeing you. If there is anything that you want to ask, please feel free to do so. I'm so excited to connect with you guys, and I am so proud of all of you, and I thank you for your time because it's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. What time is it in your time zone? Whatever time it is, I know it's not easy to get in front of a computer and to be present and to be investing in yourself. So good job, you guys. So proud of all of you, and I'm so glad to meet some of you. So, we've already started. Let me get past that one. Hold on. Technology is the only thing that holds me back. All right, so if there is anybody who I have not met yet, so nice to meet you. My name is Lisa Druxman, and I am the founder of Fit for Mom. Can't believe it. It has been almost 17 years since I started Stroller Strides, and which has grown to Fit for Baby and Body Back. And I am the author of The Empowered Mama, and I have a podcast by the same name. And even though I'm a fitness professional by trade, I have been helping people set up their lives for a really long time. In fact, it's my passion. Fit for Mama was never meant to be just about sets and reps and six-pack abs, although some of you have gotten in incredible shape, and there's nothing wrong with that. Really, it's about loving your life and helping you design your life. I have been fascinated by behavior and by people for a really long time. In fact, many of you don't know that my master's degree is actually in psychology because I'm just amazed by the power of the brain. I don't know about you. When I first got my master's degree or got into psychology, I was a fitness professional. I was a personal trainer, and I was always so amazed that, I would tell my clients, do these exercises and eat these foods, and then they don't do it. I gave them the answers. And it was because this holds them back. And who am I kidding? That was me, myself. I was like, why do I know the answers and sometimes I don't follow through? So I have been studying behavior and why our brain does what it does for a really long time. And I'm all about sharing my tips with you. And so I want to share with you what we're going to go over tonight. Tonight we are going to go over habits, how to build them, how to break them. I just want to really help you with a plan so you feel like you can get off this call tonight and be able to start working on something in your life. We are also going to talk about the habit loop because there's some incredible research. Has anybody read The Power of Habit? Really great book that talks about the habit loop. We're going to talk about reverse engineering your goals. So if you feel like there is either a habit that you want to build or break, or there is a project that is too overwhelming, we're going to tell you how to break those down, how to achieve success when you're building these habits. And then I'm so excited. I'm like really so excited. I almost like can't even believe it's not till the end that I get to share with you my new light bulb moment. I have something that I'm really excited to share with you guys. Stroller Strides was one of those light bulb moments. I was literally walking with Jacob, working out with him, and I had a light bulb moment. I'm like, oh my God, I could help other people get back in shape, and they could help me with all the things I needed to know about motherhood. I'm having one of those light bulb moments again, and I'm so excited to share that with you. And because you are here, you're here with me live, you are going to get a special offer for being with us. So we're so excited to get started. It is my goal to get you out of here in an hour. It is also my goal to answer any questions you have. However, there's no way I can do a presentation and be reading the screen. So my awesome assistant, Jessica Wayman, is going to be looking at the chat and keeping up with that. But at the end of the session, I'm going to answer any questions you have. Does that sound good? Are you ready? I hope you guys are taking notes. I hope you're totally ready for this. So before we go into habits, I do feel like I should tell you a little bit more about my story. I told you the part about getting my degree in psychology, and it's one thing to have all the tools and have all the knowledge, and it's another thing to actually be living it. And so for those of you who don't know my story, I started Stroller Strides in 2001. I was a brand new mom. I was looking for a career that was supportive of motherhood. and the business took off. And as you know, motherhood takes off, right? And before you know it, I was spread so thin. And so if you ever asked me how I was, the answer was so busy, so overwhelmed. Raise your hand right in the chat. Any of you felt busy or overwhelmed in the last week? Have you felt busy or overwhelmed in the last week? All right. It was how I was living all the time. And when I really looked at it, I didn't feel like I was doing anything well. At work, I felt like I wasn't doing anything well. As a parent, I didn't feel like I was doing anything well. I definitely wasn't taking care of myself, which was so ironic since I'm a wellness professional and this is what I teach you to do, but I wasn't living it. And that didn't feel authentic to me and it wasn't okay with me. One thing I have is a zest for life, and I do not want to waste this life. And I do not want to look back at on my deathbed, whenever that is, hopefully a very long time from now, and say, oh my God, I spent way too much time on email, or I spent way too much time on social media. I want to know that however long my life is, that I lived fully alive, that I lived on purpose, that I lived by passion. And it's not just about getting the most done, but it's actually just having a zest for this life. Does anybody else want that? That was what I wanted. So I put a line in the sand and I said, whew, something's got to change. And so I really looked at what successful people were doing and what successful people have. I've been studying successful people for a really long time. I read all the books. I continue to. I probably read 4 books a month. I listen to podcasts every single day. Success leaves clues. Successful people will tell you what they do, okay? The 2 things, there's more than 2, but there are 2 things that are foundational to success for all people. You wanna know what those things are? Habits and belief. They believe in themselves. Think about that for a moment. And they have the habits to back up those beliefs. And so when I put my line in the sand, I said, something's gonna change, and I'm gonna change how I'm living. So I started applying everything I was learning from all of these books, all the people. I mean, I had a column for years on entrepreneur.com where I got to interview some of the top mom entrepreneurs. I started applying everything I was learning. I started applying all of the hacks and what works for me and what doesn't. And it worked. And I feel like I'm one of the few people who can actually say, you know what, I am loving this life that I'm living. Is it always perfect? No, there is no perfect. I'm not going to try to sell you on perfect. I am not sitting here in namaste, perfect balance. There is no such thing as perfect balance. But what I can tell you is I'm kicking ass in this life. I'm having a really good time every single day. Not all day long, every single day, but realistically, like I love my life every single day. And I want to help you do that. I don't want you to only live for weekends. Like how many of you are like, tomorrow's Thursday. That means Friday's right around the corner. Anybody? Like, I get that. I was just like living for weekend, mainly just so I could get help from my husband. I want you to love your life every single day. And I want to help you with that. So that's what we're going to talk about. I just want to talk about the beliefs for a second. Do you actually believe that you are capable of amazing things? Or are your beliefs holding you back? Do you know that we think about 60,000 thoughts a day? 60,000. Think about that for a moment. The crazy part is not that 60,000. The crazy part is that 98% of those thoughts are the same thoughts you had yesterday. We keep repeating the same thoughts. How unoriginal of us. Now, the bad part is our brains are genetically programmed towards the negative. So that means there's a good chance that 98% of the thoughts you are having are negative. Anybody relate to that? I get it. And so you get wrapped up in this feeling of I can't. And that was how I lived the first part of my life. I believed I couldn't do anything. And the good news is what my training in psychology has taught me and what much research has taught me is that you can change that. And we're going to talk a little bit later about neuroplasticity of the brain. We can talk about changing how our brain is wired so that you can have what you want. So if you don't yet believe in yourself, just know I believe in you and hold on to that belief right now. So let's talk a little bit about your habits. Aristotle, wise man, said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. A habit. So let's talk about habits for a second. All right, so this is like the definition of habits. A habit, hold on one second, my screen is blocked. I gotta be able to read it to you. A habit is an acquired behavior or thought pattern that you have repeated so many times that it has become almost unconscious. As you likely already know, habits can be both helpful and harmful. You know that, right? You definitely know that. I want you to think for a moment, what are some of the habits that you have right now? All right, what are some of the habits, certain things you just don't even think about as habits? From the moment you wake up till you go to bed, there's habits. The way you get out of your bed is a habit. The way you get dressed or move your body or the way you sit, those are all habits. Now, a lot of those habits just happened organically. You didn't actually program them in with a strategy. But what are some habits that you have actually built? Good habits. Would love for you to share in the comments. Makes it so much more fun when you guys participate. What are some good habits that you have, that you built, that you actually worked to create that habit? You know, people often think, brushing your teeth is a habit. Flossing your teeth, there's been so much research on how to get people to floss their teeth. One of the things that they learned is the best way, start one tooth at a time. Just create a habit to just start with one tooth, and then it ends up building into more. So there's lots of positive habits you have. There's probably just a few that you would like to build. Can you tell me what, and actually, because I want to be able to look at your chat afterwards. So write the word build, okay? What's a habit you want to build? What's a habit that you want to create? What's a habit that you want to have? And then I'd be curious, is that a habit that you've wanted before? I am a big goal setter. I do a lot of goal setting. I will help you with goal setting. And a lot of people think of New Year's resolutions as the time for goal setting. And how many times have you set the same resolution over and over? That you're going to start exercising, that you're going to start drinking your water or eating your vegetables or getting your sleep. Well, we got to do something different. Now let's talk about some habits that we might want to break. Now, obviously there are some bad habits. If you're a smoker, you're like, I know I need to break this habit. But it's hard. It's hard to break a habit. Chances are, even if you're not a smoker, you do have some habits that you want to break. Can you think of some that you might want to break? Does that apply to any of you? Are you on this device way too much? Are you addicted to social media? What other habits might you want to break? Maybe that nightly glass of wine, or maybe staying up too late. Yeah, so there are so many things that we want to build and so many things we want to break. And the thing is, the strategy for either building a habit or breaking a habit is pretty much the same. And that's what I want to take you through. In order to do this, we're going to make changes in the brain. So this is where we talk about neuroplasticity. It is crazy how much new research there is about the brain. When I got my master's degree, we didn't even know most of this stuff. This information didn't even exist. And I'm not that old. I mean, I'm older than probably some of you, but we thought up until very recently that the brain was fixed. Whatever you were was how you're going to be. Now we happen to know that you can actually change the rewiring of your brain. And I don't know, I'm pretty excited about that. Now, it doesn't always work in your favor. In fact, I've been doing a lot of research right now that this device is changing the wiring of our brain in a not so good way, especially our kids' brains. So that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about, not today. But sometimes it changes in a way that we don't want it to. But we can change the wiring in our brain so that, remember I told you think 60,000 thoughts a day? We can start creating thoughts that we want, because your thoughts are what end up leading to your behaviors, and your behaviors to those habits. So if we're thinking negative, I'm not going to ask you to write this in chat, but I want you to actually kind of participate, like go along with me. Think about a thought that you have every single day that is not serving you. Think about it. I don't want to put anything in your head. Think about a thought that's not serving you. The next time you have that thought, first I want you to have an awareness of it, okay? Then I want you to say, okay, stop. This is not serving me. that that's not enough. The next thing I want you to do is to do a do-over thought. I want you to actually create a new thought. So if, like, I taught body back this morning and I had some clients struggling with some of the exercises, and I feel like I can get in their head. If in their head they're saying, oh God, I can't do this. I can't do this box jump, all right? That's first an awareness that that thought isn't serving them. What would be a good do-over thought might be to say, you know what? Why would I expect to do something that I've never done before? I bet if I stick with this, I will be able to do it. There are so many ways to turn that thought around. And believe it or not, if you keep doing that, you will strengthen your brain. And you can strengthen your brain, and your brain will get bigger. And when it comes to the brain, bigger is better. So what other habits are there in your life that you want to break? Whether it is online shopping or gambling or the social media, part of why they are hard to break is because of that wiring. You have an unconscious script, which is this cognitive script that goes with just automatically. It's just automatic that you have this thing that happens and then it's automatic. And so we have to actually, here's a way to think about it. Let's say that wiring in the brain is more like a river, okay? It's been going down that river path for so long, so many times. What we need to do is block it and send it a new direction. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So if you want to build or break a new habit, and let's talk about building, because that's usually what people are thinking about. How long does it take to build a new habit? Write your guesses in the chat. Write your guesses. Maybe I'll offer a prize. Oh, I like what I'm seeing. Some of you have been doing your homework. So usually when I ask this question, it's 21 days. I don't know what author. Some author must have published 21 days and we all took it to be truth. Now, I also want to tell you, even though I read a lot, I don't take it all to be truth because there's lots of different opinions out there. The answer to it is actually that it depends. It depends on you. It depends on what it is you're trying to break. It is going to be really a very different habit to break if you've been smoking for a long time versus, I don't know, they've only been smoking for a day. It depends on your situation. It depends on your space in life. How about your season of life? If you are right now in the thick of motherhood with a brand new baby, probably not the best time to build or break a new habit. Just going to be honest. Not saying it's not possible, but it will probably take longer. I will give a prize. Jessica, make a note to whoever said 66 days. I saw that go by. I don't know what I'm going to give you, but I'm going to give you something. I'm going to follow up with you. And that is because if you look at the research, it will find that if you had to pick a number, 66 days is the average to build or break a habit. You could do it in 2 weeks. It just depends on what the habit is, how much focus you have, and what your plan is. So let's talk about that plan. There are researchers at MIT who have figured out that all habits have what's called a habit loop. There is a cue, a routine, and a reward. That's it. A cue, a routine, and a reward. If you are interested in this topic of habits, I will give you some really great books to read. One is called The Power of Habit, and they talk a lot about the habit loop. Another book is by Brendan Burchard, High Performance Habits. Two of my favorite habit books for you. I'm just sharing with you the best of the information in case you don't have time to read 4 books in a week. Okay, so let's do some examples for you now. Let's say you want to build a habit, and the habit you want to build is running in the morning, all right? You want to make sure that you start working out in the morning. You can create a cue for yourself, all right? So in this case, the cue would be, I'm going to put my workout clothes out the night before, all right? Any of you do that? It works. My husband does that every single night. Actually, I only do it because I'm trying not to wake him in the morning, but every night he puts out his workout clothes the night before. Does anybody else do that? Let's talk about another cue. Let's say your goal is to not get right on your phone first thing in the morning. How many of you do that? Lots, like a huge majority of people do that now. They get on their phone almost as soon as they wake up and they check email and they check social media. So let's say you said, "No, what? I don't want to get on that thing." But if it were your alarm clock, then that is going to be a problem, right? So by changing the cue of getting a real alarm clock that's not your phone, that would be a way that we're changing the cue in that habit loop. So let's do a real life example with the whole thing. This is my real life example from when I was in college. When I was in college, specifically in my master's program, I was studying. And then every day at around 3:00, I would go, like I worked at a lab where I was studying, and I would go into this break room and I would go have a cookie. They had cookies out. That was a really bad habit, okay? So let's break this down. First, I could look at what is the cue. The cue for me was the clock. It was a certain time of day that it was like, oh, I knew at 3:00 that they were going to put out cookies in this break room, all right? So there was a clock and there was a time of day. So I can change the cue. I can figure out if there are ways for me to change the time and go take a break beforehand. I can do something else, and that's what we're going to talk about. I can change the actual routine. I later learned, well, I'm getting ahead of myself, that it was really the reward that I was looking for. But by changing the routine, what I started to do is instead of going at 3:00 to the break room for the cookie, I would go take a walk outside. Just take a walk. That was it. So I changed my routine. That was how I didn't even know that I was doing this whole habit loop thing. I learned about that later, but this is how I ended up breaking that habit. Went outside and I took a walk. And then I needed to start analyzing, well, what is the reward that I was looking for? Was I just needing an energy boost? Was I really needing the sugar? Or was I needing a break? So there are ways that you can test the reward for whatever habit it is that you're looking to work on. So if it was energy, then I should be able to go get a cup of coffee, and that would actually fill that need, right? If it was that I needed sugar, well, I could replace it with a different kind of sugar, and so maybe a Kind bar, which is still sugar, but probably a little better choice than the cookie. Or that's a pause button, by the way, in the middle. Anybody know it's a pause button? You could take a break. And that was actually what I ended up realizing that I needed more than anything. I was having the mentality that all I was supposed to be doing was working and studying, but you're allowed to eat, right? So I ate as that way to take a break. So for me, when I realized that, no, I really just needed the break and I changed the routine, I was able to break that habit and no more going and getting cookies. So that's one way to look at it. Now, what if it's something bigger than a cookie break? What if you have this really enormous goal that you want to accomplish, whether it is running a marathon or a big project? Well, I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. This is one of the biggest things that I can share with you that has worked for me. I break everything down. Have any of you read my book, The Empowered Mama, or listened to my podcast, The Empowered Mama? I am very honest and share with you some of my earlier stories, and I have ADD. My dad's a psychologist. I was diagnosed. I clinically do have ADD. And so in the early years when I was studying, I was so overwhelmed. Like if you told me to read a book, I was just way too overwhelmed to do it. So I was like, no, but I want to succeed. So I would break it down and say, okay, Lisa, can you just read a chapter? Nope, that was still too overwhelming. Can you just read a paragraph? Nope, that was still too overwhelming. And I actually remember this. I remember being in my room and just going, I'm going to just get through a sentence at a time. Just determination, man. I broke it down into a small achievable bite. I would just highlight one sentence at a time until I built the strength that I could tackle writing and reading and doing more. But I just want to say, I do that for everything in my life. If you would have told me, Lisa, you're going to start a national franchise company, that would have been too overwhelming. But if you ask me what the next step is, I can tell you what the next step is. So whatever project you want to do, I guarantee you it is doable. And if it's a habit that you're trying to build or break, we can do it. We just need to break it down into the smallest steps that will be achievable for you, because success begets success. The brain likes to be successful, all right? So we want to start doing small tasks, small things to make it doable. That book, by the way, The Empowered Mama, I wrote that book in 11 minutes a day, little tiny chunks. And before you knew it, I was writing for half an hour. But you are able to get really big things done by taking small steps. I consider this to be reverse engineering your goals. So can we do that right now? Can we play for just a moment? I hope you all have a piece of scratch paper. I don't think it's going to work too well on the chat, but feel free to try it. I want you to think of a goal that you've had for yourself, something that takes more than a single step, all right? It can be a habit, so we can still stay on the habits if you want to work on a habit, but it could be something else. If you want to run a marathon, if you want to write a book, if you want to start a podcast, whatever it is for you, if you want to go back to school, I want you to think of a goal, all right? What I do when I have this goal is I break it down. I brain dump. Now, the problem, or one of the challenges in today's world, is we don't have space. We don't have space to daydream. We don't have space to get creative. We don't have space to look at our life and what we want to do. And that's why it's really hard to get some of these big things done. So while you're not going to have enough time right now, I do hope that you take some time for yourself, even if it's half an hour, to go through how this works. So you pick what your goal is. And then all I do is give myself the space to brain dump. What is every single step that I can think of that I would need to do to make it happen? And then I break that down into smaller steps. And then I think about how long will those steps take? And then I start working backwards. I plug in all the different dates, and then I can figure out, well, it's going to take me this long to do it. Trying to think, can anybody throw out a goal, like, so I can just play with it with you? Can anybody throw something on the chat board of something that's on your mind, a goal that you have? I'll play with it with you. Come on. Starting a farm. Oh, I like it. I've never started a farm. Oh, organizing your home. I'm really excited about that one. You'll see why very soon. Starting your own company. I'm going to go with starting your own company because I was certainly raising bison specifically. Katie, I'm just so not sure that I could help you with that, but okay, I'm going to do that one. I'm going to do that one because it is hard and I know nothing about it. So let's say I want to start a farm and I want to raise bison. Okay, so I need to start breaking down the steps. You know what? The first step for me is always Google. Thank God for Google. I'm going to Google, well, what does it take? What do I need? Where do I get them? How much land do I need? What kind of care do they need? How much does it cost? Like literally writing down all of these different things. Sometimes we write down a step that is actually 5 steps. And so I'm going to see if I can think of something for the bison. But let's say Katie said, okay, she made a step that said, buy a bison. Well, that's not really one step, right? First, I need to figure out where I'm getting it from. So it might be that one of my steps is to go on Google. Like literally, that's the step. Am I right? Do my Google search. When Jessica and I, when we did this launch for this program, we have this very detailed list of all the things that include set up the Google Drive. Like there are so many baby steps. And while that might seem overwhelming, it's really not, because you just take it one step at a time and you figure out where that fits into your life based on how important is this to you? Are you willing to drop other things to make it happen? And how much time are you ready to start putting into it? So that's really awesome. So how many goals have you guys set that you keep setting and you just don't quite get there? That's most people. I mean, I don't have the statistics in front of me right now about how many people don't actually go through those New Year's resolutions. We sabotage ourselves. Maybe not on purpose, but there's lots of things that we're doing that are blocking us from achieving the success that we want. First of all, depending on what the goal is, there's so many different ways to get there. And I don't think it's about that you find the right way. Some of you that I know, I'm looking right at you, keep buying a million courses to learn how to do something. But then we don't act and go through with something. Does it sound familiar? that person, she knows who I'm talking to. Like, I would rather you do one thing and actually just stay the course, okay? If you want to open the bison farm, there's probably books you can buy. There might be an online course that you can buy. There, might be 5 different things that you can do. And so you spend so much time juggling all the different things. I need you to pick just one approach and be consistent and stick with it and actually follow through with it. I think one of the hardest things are for health goals. And it's one of the things that frustrates me about our industry. And the reason why is because if you created a goal that said, this is my year to get healthy, well, first of all, it's pretty vague. But besides that, there's 10 million different things you could do to get healthy, right? I could start sleeping more, drinking more water, eating more vegetables, exercising more. I don't know, should I go gluten-free or should I watch my sugar? Like, it's too much. Pick something and stick with it. The other reason that we sometimes sabotage ourselves is that we try to do too much, too hard, too fast, and we're just not focused. How many times have you set a goal for yourself where you've actually also set 3 other goals at the same time? Because we tend to set them at New Year's, maybe not you, but lots of people, we tend to set them at New Year's, and then, I'm sorry, I'm reading some chat and laughing, tend to set them at New Year's, and then we say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And we actually make very little difference because we're trying to spread energy and there's not really a strategy behind it, and there's not really a plan behind it to get anywhere. Another book that I will recommend to you, and again, feel free not to read all the books, but if you have interest in this, is called Essentialism. And the idea with Essentialism is that we are so busy putting energy in lots of different places that we don't get anywhere. But if you put all of your energy into one thing, you would get really, really far. And that has been, for me, what has really worked, is figuring out at this stage, okay, and that could be a very small period of time, this is what I am going to focus on. And I'm going to focus on just this. And that means I might have to let some other things go. I mean, you still have to do regular daily life, but we're not trying to build big goals, multiple at the same time. How many of you feel like plate spinners, like the guy at the circus, and you're just constantly trying to spin these plates, and I got to get this one, and I got to get this one, and I got to try to keep them all up in the air, and then something drops. We're just trying to do too much. So when you are deciding what goals you're willing to take on, so let's say you have a list of goals that you want to do or a list of habits that you want to do. It is better for you to say, is this the right one for this stage of my life? Like, it's so funny. So many of our Fit for Mom franchisees have studios, okay? They have Fit for Mom studios. I've wanted to open a studio for so long. Maybe I will soon. But my reason for not doing it was not because I didn't think it would be successful. I knew it would be successful. But because it didn't fit with my season of life as far as how much energy that I knew I could put into it. And so I really want you to start thinking about, I'm going to get very focused because I'm spinning lots of plates here, especially if you are listening and you're a mom. It is so easy to write on a piece of paper what your goal is. Say, 2018, I made this little vision board and this is what I'm going to do. But if it is a goal without a plan, it is just a wish. Most people don't have the plan behind it. And I know I'm talking about goals, but I'm talking as if we're talking about habits, your habit might be the goal that you're wanting to work on. It is not enough to just have the intention. Intentions are great, but you've had the intention before that you were going to get organized, or you've had the intention before that you were going to start the business. And I just want to say, get started. Create the plan. The plan is action. Creating that plan is action. And you can do it. If I have learned anything from all the people who I've interviewed to my own experience, it's that you are going to be a disaster before you're a master. And I want you to be okay with that. I don't want you to worry about perfection. Yes, fear of failure. Like, so what? Every single time you fail, you are going to learn. I think I have some muting I need to do, so hold on one second. Once in a while, it lets somebody's sound come through, so I'm just gonna remute ya. I'm like a squirrel though, it just distracted me. Where are we at? you're not going to be perfect. This webinar, first webinar that I've done, not going to be perfect. Okay. Things that I could do to make it better, but you know what? I'm going to do it. I took action and the next one's going to be better. So I really, really thank you, Renata. I so appreciate it. It's not really my first webinar, but my first for this kind. But my first was really bad. You know, you get better. The world needs you to move forward. The world needs you to take action, and you just got to do it smarter than you've done it before. Now, a lot of research has been done to say if you do your goal or your habit with an accountability partner or a community, you can increase your chance of success up by 95%. 95%. I think that is why, like, if you've never seen our body back transformations, the transformations are so incredible. People make more changes in 8 weeks than they have in the last 8 years. It's not about the workout. The workout's great. It's not about the food plan. The food plan's great. It is because of the community and the accountability. And so when you're deciding what goal or what habit you want to take on, to think about, is there a way that I can do this with somebody? So even if it's your bison farm, it might be, is my spouse my accountability partner? Or I'm going to start a mastermind with some other farmers in my area. Because if you all have other people that you're working with, you guys, I have been in masterminds and accountability groups since I started Fit for Mom. And those groups change every few years because you keep growing and you keep needing new things. I mean, I don't know, maybe you can be lucky enough to be in a group that will always serve you. But the people who I am with now are, you know, they deal with multi-million-dollar businesses. They wouldn't have worked with me at the beginning. You can always find somebody who is doing what you want to do, who could be your accountability partner or your accountability group to get you there. It's why, if you've seen any of those online challenges work so well, all right? So this is like a really old one from Fit for Mom. Like, how many of you have done some sort of online challenge? Can you think of one that you've done? Have you done a push-up challenge or a sit-up challenge or a plank challenge? They work because there's a focused goal. They work because there's a commitment, there's a plan, and there's an accountability. You see a weightlifting challenge. Nice, Jessica. And this is why I'm so excited. We are now at the point where I can tell you my light bulb moment and what I'm so excited about. God, again, if you know me or you've been following me, you know that I'm just passionate about you and that I believe so much in you and I believe in your power. And I just want to see you take action. And so many of the things that I'm talking about are in my book, The Empowered Mama. I wrote it as a guidebook, wanting you to take action. And I talked to so many people who are like, I still haven't taken action. It's like they did so much better than most people. They read it, but it's kind of like it just goes into your knowledge base and it goes into what I would call your should base, SHOULD. And you start shoulding on yourself of, great, thanks, Lisa. Now I know all the stuff I should be doing and I'm not doing. Does anybody feel that way? Like, it just makes me feel bad because I now know what I should be doing, but I haven't taken action. Or maybe I've dabbled in it, but I haven't stuck with it. And I realized that even though I've got really great information in the book, and The Power of Habit is a really good book, and Brendon Burchard's book is really good, and there's so many really good books, there's a really big difference between knowledge and action. And this is what I've got down pat. I know how to do it. I know how to turn it into action. And I want to help you do it. And I feel like I could be that person to give you the plan, to give you the strategy, and so that you're not just shooting on yourself about what you should be doing. So my light bulb moment, and some of you might have heard a little bit about this on the podcast, is that I want to do not just want to do, we are doing it. It is happening today. It's happening. 30-day success sprints. Because this is how I do things. I think about the things that I want to accomplish. I do things in very short periods, usually 30 days, sometimes 90 for bigger projects. I create the plan, and then I hold myself accountable to it. I want to do that for you. Now, I can't do that for you for every single, I can't do that for the bison farm. All right, I can't, I just can't. I hope that what I've shared with you gives you some tools so you could go do that on your own. But there are some things that I think that I can share with you that will change your life. Like, I could get teary-eyed about it right now because I know that if you do it, it will change your life, and I'd be so excited to be a part of it. So these 30-day sprints are going to include, it's a 30-day challenge, so you've got this time and this accountability, you've got this focus, all right? You are saying, I am ready, I'm signing up for this, just this one focus right now, and this is what I'm working on in my life. I'm going to give you a brief weekly video, and I know it needs to be brief because I know how much time you have. It's going to kind of set up how the week's going to go. You're going to get a daily worksheet that is going to give you, so I'm creating the plan for you. You don't have to do the work. It's going to say, this is what you're going to do today. Anything you need to do can be done in less than 10 minutes, okay? So it's small, bite-sized pieces that you're doing every day to build new habits. You are going to get a daily tracker. How many of you have ever heard the story about Jerry Seinfeld and how he writes jokes? Sometimes I don't even know if there's like urban legend because I've read this so many times, but it so works for me. It's how I wrote The Empowered Mama, and it's called Don't Break the Chain. And I talk about this in the book too. So somebody asked Jerry Seinfeld, how do you always have so many good jokes? You like never repeat anything. And he said, well, I have a habit of writing a new joke every single day. And every single day I cross it off on a calendar and make a big red X. And it's my goal to not break the chain, not break the X's. I literally did this when I wrote The Empowered Mama, and I wasn't perfect. There were days I broke the chain, but it killed me to break the chain. And so we're going to use that same concept for the success sprints of don't break the chain for 30 days. I am going to give you a little leeway on weekends because I know how busy you are. So like that way, I expect people to be imperfect. Like it's because you're human, because I'm human and I've never been perfect at anything. I just need you to know that. I always say like, I get things right like 70% of the time. But 70% of the time compared to 0 is pretty good. So that tracker will help you stay on track. And Facebook support group. So what I've created has all of the elements of everything you need to be successful, period. Has everything that you need. So what's the first one going to be? The first one is going to be near and dear to my heart. It is one of my highest values. By the way, I hope you've all done the values exercise in Empowered Mama. You got to live your life in line with what your values are. That's the first thing. Before you do any goal setting, you got to know what your values are. One of my highest values is time that I spend on myself, with other people, how I use it. And I've really been this way for a super long time. I know how precious life is. I know how quickly it goes. And I want to know that I have used it to the fullest. And I just really want to make sure that, to me, mastering your time does not at all mean getting the most things done. That's what it used to mean to me. All right. That's just plain productivity. I can teach you how to get a lot of things done. This is really different. This is about creating and designing your life so that you have the space for joy, that you have the space for health, that you are, if somebody were to ask you how you are, that you're not going to say, I'm so busy or I'm so overwhelmed. Funny story. I have been obsessed with time since I was a little kid. Does anybody remember the original book, Cheaper by the Dozen? Not. It's like, if you look it up now, it's like the, who's the actor? Steve Martin. Okay. This is before Steve Martin. And the original book, Cheaper by the Dozen, the father was a time efficiency expert. Like, I don't know why. Why, as a little kid, I was so intrigued by, like, he was able to get all his kids out, his dozen kids out. Like, how could he do it faster and faster? Like, this has been my mindset for a really long time. How can I be more efficient in my life? And so that's what I do. But in these more recent years, I've also learned, how can I be more efficient? How can I give myself more time so I don't feel frazzled? I don't feel rushed. I got so tired of feeling rushed. Terrible feeling. Does anybody feel that way? I hate feeling rushed. I hate feeling late for things. I don't feel any of that anymore. And I run a national company. I'm a mom to 2 teenagers. I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of things, and I don't feel that way. Now, some of you might be like, oh, Lisa, it's because you've got a team and all the things. I've designed my life to have the space, and I don't care where you are in your life. I don't care if you don't work. There are ways that we can design your life to give you more time. So I know you're thinking, all right, well, so how much is this going to cost? I got to tell you, I literally up until yesterday, I didn't know how much this was going to cost. And see, the content's already done. I already created the course. And I went through all of it. I'm like, oh my God, Jessica, this is like so good and so much, if I say so myself, but it's like, it's so good that it doesn't change somebody's life. Like it could be worth a lot of money, but I don't want money to hold anybody back from doing it. I want people to, first of all, I've learned I don't give, if you're a business person, don't ever give anything away for free. I don't mean like a freemium or something like that. Like I give you free meditations, but like if you really want someone to do something, don't give it away for free. Because what happens when you give it away for free is that people aren't invested in it and then they don't follow through. I'm telling you, there is research behind it. I have experienced it. I've comped so many people things and then they don't follow through. They're not invested in the same way. So we had to figure out like what is a price that we feel like is very doable for people, but they also feel like there is value in it. So I'm going to just get right to it. I mean, this is the part it's the money part, right? The 30 days is $77. $77, where in 30 days, you should walk away saying that my life is incredibly, incredibly different. Now, this course might not be for everyone. If you feel like I am a master of my time and I've got it all organized and I don't feel rushed and I don't feel overwhelmed and I feel like I've got enough time for exercise and for joy each day, then by all means, don't sign up for this course. But if you feel like, yeah, no one, I'm tired of feeling that way, then sign up for it. I will tell you that a huge majority of the information in this course is stuff you've learned from me already if you've been following me for a while. A huge majority is in the Empowered Mama book. So if you are so self-motivated that you're like, nope, I know I can do it, girlfriends, boyfriends, whoever's listening, then do it on your own. But if you're like most people who are like, no, I need the plan and I need the focus and I need the accountability group, then that is why I'm doing it. I promised you that if you got on this call, you were going to get access to a special. So let's talk about that. The special is that you get half off for the first 50 people who sign up. And there are less than 50 people on this call. So that means all of you guys could have that price right now. So the price is $38.50. Like, I promise you, I got that it will be more than worth it. Now I feel like that infomercial, but that's not all. Let me tell you a little bit more about what I got going on. I have the first 3 courses planned out. All right. So if you feel like, you know what, I'm into this, Lisa, I'm into it. Like I want to do the things with you. I want to do more. So the first one is going to be April 1st, master your time. April 1st. Second one is going to be May 1st, organize your life. What that course is going to look like is I was a very disorganized person, and that doesn't work for being a successful person. So I have studied everything. I have read the books, the Art of Tidying Up and a variety of other ones, and I have created systems to live a very organized life. We're going to do it together. We are going to organize your home. We're going to organize every single room, but not just your physical space of organizing your life. We're going to organize your digital life. We're going to organize this, how this is set up. We're going to organize your digital files and really give you systems so that you feel like now I've not only mastered my time, but I've actually feel like by the end of these 30 days, I'm not only like organized and clean, because I've done that before. How many of you have like, okay, you did the deep cleaning, you organized the closet, and 2 weeks later, it looks exactly the same? I gotta raise my hand because I've been there. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned and what I've done in the systems so that we can stay that way and keep it up as a system so that you don't get to that point. Because what happens, like you're here because you want to be successful in life. You want to move forward on your goal or your project, but you have a messy desk or a messy kitchen. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to first clean that messy desk or clean that messy kitchen. So that doesn't work for me. It is imperative to me that the whole house be organized based on that we do have kids and you have kids. But pretty much this house is organized and has a plan so that my disorganization won't ever hold me back from what I'm doing. And then the next program, June 1st, is going to be on mindful living. And this is, again, a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Might not be anything that you feel you need, but I want to teach you about meditation. I want to help you make it part of your life. And not just meditation, but how to live mindfully in every single day so that you're not feeling so squirrel and so attached to this. And you can really focus on what's more important to you and get very grounded. And there's some really, really incredible stuff in mindful living. So all of those are available to you if you want to get them singly. If you want to get all three of them, here's the other special for you. You can get all three of them for $147 instead of the regular price of $231. So that's it. Jessica will tell you how long you have for that. I think the cart closes on the 21st. So you just got to purchase it by then. After that, the price is going to go up to full price. I just want to help you with whatever you want in your life. We'll see how these first three go. I think they're going to be pretty good. And it could be something that we continue to do. And you guys can give me input. More bonuses. For the first three programs, you've got me by your side. What I mean by that is I will be on that Facebook group the entire time for the first three programs. So you can tag me, you can ask me questions, and really take advantage of having me as your coach, which I can promise you is just a little bit more than $38, just a tiny bit. And it's just because I really, really want to dive deep with you in this program and hear how it works for you, and you're going to help us build it, and it's pretty awesome. After that, because these programs are going to remain evergreen, and what that means is somebody in the following month can buy this program, and they'll be in the Facebook group, but I won't be as active in there. So it's just you guys supporting one another and you guys having the accountability. So that being said, I told you guys that I would answer any questions that you have in case, oops, hold on, I lost my screen. In case anybody needs to get going, I fully understand. How are we doing? I did pretty good. I left just enough time for questions. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot. I just want to help you design a life you love to live. I want you to live fully alive. I want you to be excited about your life. I don't want you to wait until your kids have grown up, because they should see you loving your life now. I'm pretty excited about this stuff. I want you to live as you one day want your kids to live. If you want them to be more connected in nature, if you want them to know how to be successful and set goals, if you want them to live more mindfully, it comes from you. So that being said, please feel free. You can unmute yourself, or I can unmute you, or you can ask any questions. Is there anything I can do for you before we wrap up today? April 1 is far away. If I had one tip to implement right now, well, guess what? If you sign up right away, we will be sending you some stuff and getting you set up in the Facebook group. You know me. I'm going to get you started sooner. How much time do you need to dedicate to this program each day? Great question. Less than 10 minutes a day. Less than 10 minutes a day. I would want you to have 10 minutes a day to read the email, and I have a little mini assignment for you each day, but that's it. So less than 10 minutes a day. What other? I got to pull the note thing in front of me. Hold on one sec, guys, so I can see your chat. Do you hear my family? I can hear them. I told them all to be quiet. This is real life, right? I can only see the bottom question, so if I miss something. You have a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. Would it be realistic at this time? Lauren, I don't know what your life looks like right now. I would say if you can use 10 minutes a day. Do you know how much time people spend on email and social media? So when people tell me that they don't have time, this is kind of a fun one. All right. The amount of time, I literally think that if you go through this program, I can create at least 5 hours a day for you, at least. And it's not by telling you not to be on social media, and it's not by telling you not to be on email. It's not by telling you, seriously. It's actually going to be much more than that, but that I'm being conservative. And it's not going to be telling you not to watch TV, all right? But I'm going to teach you to be more purposeful about how you do all of this. I'm going to teach you so many time hacks to make your life more efficient. Now, if you think you're just going to watch it and just let it go into your emails, don't do it. Don't do it, because I don't want to waste your money. I don't want to waste your time. And I don't want to give you one more thing that you should do. Okay. But if you're like, know what? No, I'm ready for something for myself, then I would absolutely suggest you do it. Oh, no problem. Goodbye to your crazy toddlers. I want to answer any questions that you have. There you go. Oh, half off code, EMGRP. Jessica, am I supposed to be reading that? I think I am. Jessica, put it in there. Oh, EMGRP, you can put it in there. I'm not able to move my screen to get it to anything, Jess. So Jessica will put it in there for you guys, the code, so you can get half off. If you have any questions after this, please feel free to email me. You are going to be with each other. You're going to have an accountability group, but you want to know how to make it even better? Bring your friends. Tell your friends about this. Have a friend go through it with you, and I promise that will help you increase your success with it. That's a really big part of it. No matter what you do, so whether you just decide you want to listen to the podcast, read the book, I will recommend other books if there's something that you want to learn about. I don't know anything about raising bison. I just want you to love your life. So that being said, I'm going to let you all go. I thank you. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have an incredible night. Bye, guys.